senior bishop says Justin Welby must resign as Archbishop of Canterbury over an abuse scandal in the Church of England. The Bishop of Newcastle, the Right Reverend Helen-Ann Hartley, told the BBC his position was untenable. It follows a damning report about a barrister thought to be the most prolific serial abuser associated with the Church of England.
So it's very hard to find the words to respond adequately to what the Macon report tells us. It's truly horrific, horrendous and shocking. And I know in my diocese, through the work that we've done with victims and survivors, just how deep and how long-lasting this whole systemic, years and years of abuse, the impact not just on the victims and survivors of John Smyth, but on all victims and survivors of church-related abuse. I think rightly they are asking the question, can we really trust the Church of England to keep us safe? And I think the answer at the moment is no.
Let's speak to our correspondent Harry Farley, who joins us now. So, Harry, growing pressure on the Archbishop of Canterbury to resign, but can you explain to us more about this report into abuse by this prolific child abuser?
That's right, this all relates to a man called John Smyth, who abused dozens of boys in the UK in the 1970s and 80s at Christian camps that Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, who lives at Lambeth Palace, where I am here, that Justin Welby attended those camps. Now, a report last week described the beatings that Smyth gave to teenage boys as prolific, brutal and horrific. Now, Smyth died in 2018, but the review found that before he died, the church, and I quote, knew at the highest level about the abuse, but its response was wholly ineffective and amounted to a cover-up. And Smyth went on to abuse other boys in Zimbabwe and South Africa right up into his death. And so the report is very, very critical of senior leaders in the Church of England, including the Archbishop of Canterbury, about their failure to investigate that abuse more thoroughly.
And Harry, we've now seen the first bishop, the Bishop of Newcastle, calling for him to stand aside. We've just heard her speaking. But how big is this movement? How many other people have come forward saying it's time for him to step aside?
Well, that's a very significant move. The first bishop, senior leader in the Church of England, to call openly for him to quit. I know privately others are very concerned. Over the weekend, a petition was launched by members of the Church of England's General Synod. That's equivalent to its Parliament, I suppose. They launched a petition calling also for the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, to resign. And that has been signed by many figures on that General Synod, on that Parliament. But as you say, Dr. Helen-Ann Hartley joining those calls for the Archbishop to quit. She said that she was devastated by the report, and as you heard, she said that the impact of it is that the Church as a moral voice in the UK can't be trusted if it can't get its own house in order. And as you heard, she went on to say that Justin Welby's position is, in her view, untenable. Now, Justin Welby says for his part that he was first told about Smyth's abuse in 2013. Last week, he apologised for failing to make sure the allegations were, in his words, energetically investigated at the time. He said he had considered resigning as recently as last week, but had taken advice and decided against that. Today, Lambeth Palace said the Archbishop reiterates his horror at Smyth's abuse, but said that the Archbishop does not intend to resign.
Harry, thank you. Harry Farley outside Lambeth Palace there.